What were your first impressions of space once you got on orbit, each one of you?
Well, certainly when the solid rocket motors light, for the first time, that gets your attention. I mean, there's nothing that prepares you for the amount of energy that's involved with getting the space shuttle into space. It's, 7.5 million pounds of thrust, all in an instant. You get the impression you're going somewhere. You're really not sure where, but you're going there in a hurry, and you're not coming back to Florida. I mean, it just, kind of looks slow when you're watching it as a spectator, but when you're inside, there's nothing slow about it. I mean, it just really takes off. That's certainly makes a significant impact, significant impression. And also, just seeing the Earth for the first time. It's incredibly blue, brilliant color blue, and incredibly beautiful.
I have this very vivid recollection of about Mach 15 on my first flight, looking over my right shoulder out the window and seeing this blue planet behind me. And it's a view I've never had before. It was the first time seeing something like that, and it was really, really impressive. I even said something to Dom at the time, Dom Gorey, the shuttle commander, that, it was like, wow, that is really amazing.
Obviously we've had similar, like we've discussed, similar backgrounds and experiences, similar training as astronauts. And between the time I flew my first flight and when Mark flew his, I tried to explain to him, what that first 8.5 minutes was going to be like. And after his flight, when he landed, I was there in the crew transport vehicle when the hatch opened and the crew came out. And the first thing he said to me when he came out of the shuttle after his first flight was, he goes, I had no idea what that ascent was going to be like.
Yeah, it's true. You just try to describe it to other people that are getting ready to do this. And I remember after the solids lit and the main engines looked okay, and I had a few seconds, I looked over, I started thinking, well, this just doesn't feel like I expected it to feel. It's not as smooth as you expect. It kind of feels like you're on a runaway train going 1,000 miles an hour. I remember looking over at Dom because I thought, well, this isn't quite right. And he was okay with it, so I'm like, well, this must be what it's supposed to feel like.
How much of a wow moment was it for you, Scott, when you first pulled up alongside the Hubble Space Telescope, knowing this icon of astronomy, you and your crew were about to go service it, upgrade it, and for you, Mark, to see the International Space Station at that time in its fledgling state, but nonetheless pretty impressive. What were your thoughts?
Well, just knowing, what we've learned from Hubble and how far back in time it can see, it's impressive for those reasons. It's about the size of a school bus, so as far as telescopes go, it's pretty big, but just understanding, the impact it's made on our understanding of the origins of the universe is, makes it a very impressive sight. Now, compared to the space station, especially the last time when I saw it on my one flight, it's, Hubble's a lot smaller and, less visually impressive.
As the pilot of the space shuttle, during a rendezvous, approach, and a docking, like to ISS, you're actually not doing the piloting. The commander is. He's doing the flying in the final phases of the rendezvous and the approach. So as we first approach the space station, I'm sitting in the left seat, so I can't really see anything. So I didn't have, my first look at the space station was after we docked. And, having that big picture view of station as a shuttle pilot, you don't get until you undock and you're leaving space station. And it's impressive. I've seen the thing grow. Over the years, I've visited ISS in 2001, 2006, and 2008, so I've seen it through, from the beginning here through a lot of different stages.
Scott, as commander of STS-118 and Mark as commander of STS-124, I have to ask, who threaded the needle the best for docking?
I don't know.
I watched his approach, which looked really, really good. I think it was almost as good as mine.